Well, actually, those are some drivers that I wouldn't have predicted to have been eliminated. Bottas, Grosjean, Van Dorn, Sainz and Kvyat. Lewis Hamilton, he's taken pole position from Fernando Alonso. Sebastian Vettel. Hulkenberg is in 4th. Right, who's crashed? Raikkonen! Kimi Raikkonen has crashed. There he is, he's out. Here we go, Magnussen is coming into the pits. In fact, he is the only driver to come into the pits. Magnussen's in 19th, Grosjean's in 15th, and the race has officially started once again, and Hulkenberg is still leading, just about able to defend from Fernando Alonso there. Magnussen is no longer the highest placed driver who has pitted, because Hamilton has pitted, but he's on the super softs. Legitimately, Grosjean passed Vettel. Well, that's the biggest achievement this race, to be perfectly honest. And also, the brilliant thing about Sainz is, well, firstly, Sainz is now struggling to keep up to Magnussen because he's in an even worse position than Magnussen. Secondly, because Sainz is in 10th, he's actually holding up the quicker people behind who are on quicker, fresher tyres, such as Ricciardo, Verstappen and Alonso. Oh no, Massa and Ocon, they're having a brilliant battle. Both of them have done no-stop strategies. Both of them are on medium tyres, which are extremely worn. Ocon, look how slowly he is going around the final corner. Both Ocon and Massa are using ERS, but they're going extremely slowly because they have got no tyres left. But Esteban Ocon is going to win the Dubai Grand Prix on a no-stop strategy. Massa's in 2nd, Hamilton has finished in 3rd. Right then guys, it's PSL here, and I'm here for part 4 in my equal Formula 1 Cars Championship here on Motorsport Manager. Now last time out we had the Dubai Grand Prix, which was very interesting indeed. As you can see, Esteban Ocon won the race and Felipe Massa finished in 2nd. Both of those drivers did no-stop strategies. It was unbelievable, that race was. Just completely chaotic. And it was all thanks to Kimi Raikkonen crashing. I can guarantee you, if Raikkonen hadn't have crashed, the race would have been dull. So we got very lucky there. But anyway, this time it's the Russian Grand Prix, or the Black Sea Grand Prix. But just before we get into that, there's one thing I do want to quickly mention, and that is the championship, of course. Of course, this is the equal Formula 1 Championship, the equal cars Formula 1 Championship. But of course, with the difference in tyre wear and tyre heating and fuel efficiency and all this and that, the cars aren't strictly equal. But in 1 lap pace, the cars are pretty much identical in 1 lap pace. But then if you look at the Teams Championship, Mercedes are leading. So there may be some people watching right now who think this isn't really the equal cars championship, and of course it isn't. It's as equal as I can physically make it, to be perfectly honest. But the thing is though, is Mercedes are still leading, but one thing you've got to remember is that by and large, the best teams have the best drivers. I mean, the only exception to that really is McLaren, because that's a team which is, well, in Formula 1 currently they're in dire straits, to be honest, but yet they've still got the driver lineup of Van Dorn and Alonso. Although having said that, Van Dorn is outperforming Alonso, so slightly strange there, to be perfectly honest. But yes, I mean, the championship is as equal as it can possibly be, and despite that, I mean, look, I mean, the championship is very strange anyway. I mean, never mind the fact Ocon's in 2nd, Sainz in 3rd. What about the fact that Verstappen hasn't scored any points? What about the fact that Alonso's down in 10th? Despite being one of the best drivers on the grid. That's the thing, is I just want to reaffirm the fact that that it is essentially an equal cars championship. And if you look at the Drivers' Championship standings and even the Teams' Championship standings, sure, there's some things you would expect. For example, Mercedes at the top, Sauber at the bottom. But if you look at it, if you look at the intricacies, there's quite a few anomalies and quite a few strange results. But then again, if we're going to get races like the previous one, where people are winning on no-stop strategies, you're going to get that. And also just a quick note on the other championships. So for example, IndyCar, Formula E, the WEC and GT3. These are the championships. I mean, one mistake, one thing I should have done is I should have put in the equal cars rules for all of the other championships, because sure, we can't watch the other races, but it would have been interesting to see, for example, how the WEC Championship goes when every team and every driver has got the same car. So what I'm going to do is, of course, this game save, all of the other championships are as standard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave these championships going, just leave it running, But when we get to the end of this series, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a second game save, complete it off camera, and I'll compare the championship standings with what we've seen in this game save with the normal rules, and what happens if all of the championships had the equal cars rules. But again, because I forgot to integrate that from the start, it's going to be a bit tricky for me to do that now. So as I said, I'll slide in the other championship standings with the equal cars rules. I'll slide that in at the end of the final episode. Right then, well, using what we've learned from the previous Grand Prix, as well as using a bit of logic, I'm going to prioritise the hard tyres. Well, of course, we still need a lot of soft tyres for the 3-stage qualifying format, but I want to bring more hard tyres than mediums. Normally, I've done 6.54, this time we're doing 6.45, because, well, if there's anything we learned from the previous race, is that no-stop strategies can work. But also, away from that, I mean, if you think about it logically, because all of the cars are equal in one lap pace anyway, the difference in lap times, and we've seen it in qualifying, the difference in lap times is going to be minimal. So, if you make a pit stop early, you're going to drop back loads because you won't be able to pull away, or you won't be able to pull as far away from the people behind when you're using the same machinery. So, doing less stops is the way to gain track position because, well, it's not a way to gain track position, but it's just you lose so much track position by, firstly, by pitting early, and secondly, by pitting more times than the others, just because the cars are so equal and the time loss you lose in the pits is amplified, really, when all the cars, well, when you don't have a performance advantage, unlike in real-life Formula 1. So that's why I'm going to try and prioritise the hard tyres, see if we can do one stop less, or maybe a no stop. I don't really know what to expect, but anyway, I think that's everything sorted. So yes, let's head to the 4th race of the season in Russia for the Black Sea Grand Prix. Right then, so we got a decent setup for both of our drivers as practice is about to end here in Russia. And look at it. Look at it in practice. Jolyon Palmer is the quickest in practice. Now, I've said it many times before, the practice is pretty meaningless and it bears no relation on qualifying the race on anything, but still, Jolyon Palmer has beaten Vettel to the top of practice by 13 thousandths of a second. Well then, there you go, Jolyon Palmer the quickest in practice from Vettel, Alonso and Hamilton. Ricciardo's in 5th, Bottas, Raikkonen. That's pretty standard, that's pretty expected apart from Jolyon Palmer. Max Verstappen though, he's in 8th. Pretty expected again, but his time was on the mediums, his best time in practice was on the mediums, and he beat Magnussen and Grosjean, who were on the softs. So then I think everything is looking good here, so let's head on into the first qualifying session, Q1. Right then, so at the moment no one has set a lap time yet, but, well, I don't know. I mean, we've got a decent setup, 98% setup on both of our cars. Soft tyres, we've got the we've got the performance perk for the qualifying tyres. Oh no, sorry, for the qualifying trim and the soft tyres, but I guess the soft tyres are essentially the qualifying tyres. Grosjean, though, is on the cusp of being eliminated. In fact, he is in the drop zone. Grosjean was doing so well for us at the start of this season, but he really has dropped off ever since. Kevin Magnussen is in 7th, directly behind his former teammate. But Romain Grosjean once again has been eliminated in Q1. This feels like a very familiar list of names. Grosjean, Van Dorn, Kvyat, Stroll and Ocon. I believe all of these guys are regulars and being eliminated, you know, in not making it into Q3, which is slightly surprising. I mean, Van Dorn's 4th in the championship, Ocon's won a race. But then again, to be honest, I mean, Ocon's race win at the previous Grand Prix was because he started on the hard tyres, or the hardest tyres. So, I think not making it into Q3 for him has worked out, and, you know, possibly the same for Van Dorn. Honestly, with these rules, I think going into Q3 is actually to some extent a disadvantage. So then, Kevin Magnussen, our new qualifying maestro. And in fact, someone's out on the mediums. Pascal Wehrlein has run out of soft tyres already, but then again, so's Hülkenberg, so's Sainz, so's Perez. They're all qualifying on worn soft tyres. This is unbelievable that they've ran out of soft tyres already. So once again, by default, if nothing else, Magnussen is going to make it through into Q3. Which, as I said earlier, I'm not sure if it's that much of an advantage, but still. Yeah, Masso Perez, Alonso's out, that's a shock. Fernando Alonso has been eliminated in 11th. Massa and Perez must have run out of tyres. Verline and Ericsson ran out of soft tyres to the extent that they qualified on mediums. That just left one driver to be eliminated, and amazingly, of all the drivers to be knocked out in an equal cars championship in Q2, it's Fernando Alonso. Or, to be fair to Fernando Alonso, he was only 0.04 of a second off of Carlos Sainz. That's how close it was. It was extremely close, but in the Battle of the Spaniards, Carlos Sainz just about beat his hero, Fernando Alonso. Well then, looking at it, Lewis Hamilton, he's been the quickest in both sessions so far. Vettel was second, Raikkonen was third. Bottas has made it through though. Bottas, I'll be honest, has underperformed compared to Lewis Hamilton. But then again, I mean, well, we've only done 3 races, so, you know, one decent result and you can catapult up the championship. But I don't think Verstappen's even scored a point. So he's really not done well compared to Ricciardo, but Ricciardo hasn't done brilliantly, to be honest. Anyway, let's head on into qualifying, and Lewis Hamilton once again setting the pace. Verstappen in 3rd, Bottas in 5th. Palmer, though, is all the way down in 10th. Jolyon Palmer, oh no, Magnussen's run out of softs, because he's going to set his 2nd qualifying time on the mediums. I don't think it matters, though, because Kevin Magnussen, he's beaten Jolyon Palmer to qualify in 9th. And Jolyon Palmer, amazingly, he was the quickest in practice, but he was the slowest here in Q3. And also, actually, whoa, Sebastian Vettel ended up beating Lewis Hamilton to take pole position for the Russian Grand Prix. Ricciardo beat Verstappen once again, Raikkonen's in 5th. Bottas did okay in 6th, and he beat Sainz, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, and Jolyon Palmer. So then, I've worked out my race strategy, but to be fair, it was already predetermined in practice. Because I've already got the performance boost for the hard tyres, I may as well start with the hard tyres. But also, this is kind of what I hoped for, because I kind of hoped that by going on the hardest tyres, I'll be able to stop 1 time less than, not necessarily everyone else, but, you know, a lot of the other people who may be starting on the mediums or have to start on the softs, for example, Kevin Magnussen. But it's a 29 lap race, the hard tyres can do between 15 and 17 laps, so Grosjean should be able to relatively comfortably do a 1-stop race. Now Magnussen, of course, because he made it through into Q3, he's got to start on the soft tyres, and I don't imagine they'll be lasting, 2 to 4 laps. However, the medium tyres, they can only do 10 laps, I think it said. So if we bring Magnussen in and take him out on medium tyres till the end, he'll have to stop he'll have to stop 3 times. Whereas if we bring him into the pits and bring him out on mediums, he can do a 2-stop strategy just like Grosjean, I believe. So there you go, Vettel, Hamilton, Ricciardo, Verstappen. It doesn't want to scroll down, so let's just head on into the race. So here we go, the 2017 Russian Grand Prix is underway. Grosjean starting in 16th place, he's already made up a positional 2. In fact, Grosjean is already up in 2. He's going through the middle of some cars there. Grosjean is already up into 11th place. Brilliant. So our drivers, we're in 7th and now 12th. Okay, but that's really good. Quite a few people are starting on the hard tyres. Marcus Ericsson is the highest placed driver who started on the hard tyres. Grosjean, though, is 2nd. He's ahead of, well, he was ahead of Massa, but he's now just been passed. But he's ahead of, no, okay, he's overtaken Massa. Okay, but he's ahead of some medium tyre runners as well, including Verline and Kvyat. Vettel, of course, setting the fastest lap of the race. But for the time being, our 2 drivers were in 10th and 14th. But realistically, well, I mean, we've still got a long way to go. But, I mean, realistically, Magnussen's 10th place. He's not really in 10th. I mean, he's just been passed, actually. No, he's retaken 10th place. Oh, Van Dorn. Stoffel Van Dorn has crashed. I talked about him being the consistent driver, but there you go. Mr. Consistent has retired. And Magnussen, maybe I should have brought him into the pits there, but no, we'll bring Magnussen in at the end of this lap for some medium tyres. So yes, he'll be basically on the same strategy as Grosjean, except he'll be 3 laps offset from Grosjean. Yeah, so that should work. Okay, putting a bit of battery charge in there, and Magnussen, sorry. I mean, this is quite strange. Oh, someone else has crashed. Massa. Felipe Massa. Oh, I say crash, but there's smoke there, so I think his car might have blown up, actually. Which is surprising, because as we saw at the start of this series, all the parts, they've got decent reliability. They all start off with 80% reliability. And I've seen the recent, developer diary video or whatever from the Motorsport Manager team, and they said they're going to bring an update in the future where you can trim parts off of your car to gain performance and lose a bit of reliability. Unfortunately, that update hasn't been brought into the game at the time of me recording this, because I could probably find some, a nice bit of performance gain from that, but, since that has been a mistake. Why do I bother? Magnussen, he's lost 9.5 seconds in the pits, and he's got no ERS. I mean, I don't take risks. I mean, I didn't tell my pit crew to work fast. They were on the medium speed, risk setting, whatever it is. And even the ERS, that was only a low risk of failure, and both of them have gone against us. And Grosjean, he's losing places. He's down to 14th, so really things are not working out for us. Okay, so Grosjean, he's in 12th place. That is now 10th, actually, as that's a red car. It must be Raikkonen, since Vettel's still out there. Kimi Raikkonen just about is able to rejoin ahead of Grosjean. Raikkonen, interestingly, he's fitted on the hard tyres, and in fact now Grosjean's just been passed by Pascal Wehrlein. Like, Grosjean's in a spot of bother. Magnussen's essentially out of the race thanks to our pit crew messing up, and I mean, Magnussen can't even use the ERS, so he is, he's missing out on performance there. So really, things are not going too great right now. Grosjean, he's in 11th. Someone else has crashed. Valtteri Bottas. Bottas, I talked about him, about how he's underperformed compared to Hamilton. That's not going to help. That's really not going to help. Speaking of which, Hamilton, he's still out there on his soft tyres, amazingly. He is coming into the pits now, I assume. Well, Verstappen has to. I assume Alonso is doing. No. Alonso, he may not have had the raw pace in qualifying. No, of course Alonso's got more life in his tyres. He didn't make it through into Q3. Well, actually, Alonso qualifying in 11th, that could be brilliant. To be honest, I think qualifying in 11th is really the best place. Oh no, I've made a bit of a mistake, actually. Romain Grosjean, he's only got 22% life left on his tyres. This is only the 14th lap. And look, it says they can do 15 to 17 laps. I think it was the previous episode, I said that these estimated laps are usually pretty optimistic, and they are. Now, I didn't tell Grosjean to conserve. Yeah, we will put in some more charge. Again, it's only a 14% chance of failure in the pit stops, and that's what happened to Magnussen. Anyway, yes, we will bring Grosjean into the pits. Despite having only done 14 laps on those medium tyres. To be fair, his pace, he has been on medium. Yes, he's been on neutral driving style for the entire time. But the thing is, though, is look at his tyres. They're stone dead cold. He's going to fit on some new tyres now, and there you go. The temperature is in the middle. Thankfully, a decent pit stop for Grosjean. And Magnussen's now out ahead of Grosjean, actually. Well, I'm going to tell Magnussen to let Grosjean through, although I think Grosjean's just done it anyway. Okay, well, that's good. Oh, no, please, Magnussen, please don't re-overtake your teammate. Okay, that's good. Right, but the thing is, though, is I kind of need to tell Grosjean to conserve his tyres. Because as we saw, they only did 14 laps. Because I want to do a one-stop strategy with Grosjean at least. But the thing is, though, is you lose pace by the tyres being cold. As you can see by Magnussen, his tyres, they were of a neutral tyre temperature when he fitted them on. But now his tyres are stone dead cold. So, I mean, here's the thing, is we're losing out on a lot of pace by our tyres being cold. But if we push on them to make them hot, to gain some pace, then they're just going to wear out quicker. And it's all about doing as few pit stops as possible, really. So that's the problem. I mean, that's down to the tyre heating, because this Haas car has got poor tyre wear and poor tyre heating. So, I mean, the two really compound each other, to be honest, because we can't push on the tyres because they'll wear out extremely quickly. I mean, they wear out quickly as it is. But if we don't push, they're cold. If they're cold, we lose pace. If we make them hot, they wear out extremely quickly. There's nothing we can do. They just compound each other, to be honest. But anyway, Magnussen, he's in the pits on some tyres which for now are at a decent temperature. As you can see, Grosjean's tyres, they're already pretty cold. But we need to conserve the tyres to be able to make it to the end of the race. We can't push because or else we won't be doing a one-stop anymore. And realistically, this is our only chance of scoring points. Especially as Sainz, who's directly ahead of Grosjean, he's definitely got to come into the pits. Okay, looky here. Grosjean, he's in 9th. He's ahead of Verstappen because Verstappen is coming to the pits for the second time to fit on some soft tyres. Grosjean, though, thankfully he's caught up to Ericsson. Because Ericsson, he's going extremely slowly. Ericsson, I mean, let's not forget, he's in a Sauber. That car's got poor tyre wear. And Ericsson, not the quickest driver, and also he's got less life left on his tyres. I just don't think Grosjean's quite going to be able to overtake in time. Hopefully he can hold off Verstappen, because he's held off Verstappen for a long time now. And I mean, Grosjean, I told Grosjean to conserve his tyres for most of the stint, and it has worked. He's been able to eke out an extra couple of laps on this set of tyres compared to the previous set, where he wasn't conserving for any of the stint actually. But Grosjean, he's pulling away from Verstappen now. Thank God for that, because apparently Verstappen's coming under threat from Hulkenberg, and we're getting very close. Oh no, we have to turn down the fuel mode, unfortunately. But we're going to see if we can manually use Grosjean's ERS to get past Ericsson. We did this exact move actually in China. Yeah, the Chinese Grand Prix, I used the ERS in one of our cars to get past Ericsson. We're going to see if we can do the exact same thing here. Please, Grosjean, please. Nope. He's not going to do it. He's not going to do it, unfortunately. Romain Grosjean, though, I think he's just about. He's going to cross the line in 9th place. Pretty dismal race for us, to be honest. But look, Sebastian Vettel won the Russian Grand Prix. Sergio Perez, I don't know how he did it. He did a one-stop strategy, much like us. And Sergio Perez, he's taken 2nd. And Daniel Ricciardo's taken 3rd. And Fernando Alonso, once again proving that Q3, getting into Q3 isn't particularly great, as he didn't make it into Q3, and he finished in 4th. Well, there you go, look at that. Sergio Perez was on mediums, then hards. Again, I couldn't have done that. There's no way I could have done 13 laps on the mediums. I barely did 16. In fact, no, we didn't even do 16 laps on the hards. We did 15 laps on the hards, and that was going some, because we were conserving the tyres for most of it. And then Magnussen, who knows? Magnussen could have done alright, but he just got unlucky. I mean, I don't know. I mean, to be fair, there's no one else you can really compare him to. I mean, Raikkonen and all of them lot, they also started on the softs, but they did more laps on the softs, and they did different strategies anyway. So here we go, the Drivers' Championship. It's Hamilton from Vettel from Ocon, Ricciardo, Perez, Alonso. Relatively normal. I mean, I did expect Hamilton to be up there. I expected Vettel to be up there. I expected Alonso to be a bit further up, but he is working his way up there. I mean, he finished 4th this Grand Prix. He finished 3rd at the first Grand Prix of the season, but the 3rd Grand Prix was very strange indeed. I mean, Grosjean got 2nd, and that's the best finish we've ever had, and the best finish we're probably ever going to get, to be honest. Grosjean slipped down to 9th. Kevin Magnussen, he's still on the same points total as Palmer and Bottas. I mean, again, this is a very strange championship still, because Raikkonen's in 12th, Bottas is in 16th. Verstappen's finally scored a point. Force India are leading the team's championship. From Ferrari, from Mercedes. Mercedes really didn't do that well, that race. In fact, where did Hamilton finish? I don't recall. Hamilton must have had a dreadful finish, because he didn't score many, if any, points. Because Mercedes were leading the team's championship. I know Bottas retired from the race. Well, there you go. Force India, I'm not surprised, are leading the equal Formula 1 Cars Championship. But then again, I reckon if you implemented into Formula 1 a budget cap, I reckon the team that would win if you had equal cars, well no, not even if you had equal cars, if you just had a budget cap, I reckon the team that would win would be either Force India or Toro Rosso, because in terms of value for money, Force India, they always exceed expectations, beating the likes of Williams in real life and all this and that. So it's no surprising with equal cars that they're leading, to be honest. Toro Rosso have done quite well. It's amazing to see Toro Rosso beating, well, I mean, the Red Bull B team beating the Red Bull A team. Well then guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to leave a like, comment down below, and next time it's another one of my favourite tracks on this game actually, and it's the Tondela Grand Prix circuit in Portugal. So yes, I'll see you guys next time for the Portuguese Grand Prix in this Equal Formula 1 Cars Championship. So I'll see you then.